I wasn't in the rap game, I'd probably have a key knee deep in the crack game. Because the streets is a short stop. Either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
Jordan, give me what got you into coaching? Like going from playing in college, like what got you? Did you always know that you were gonna be a coach?
Nah, I really ain't know, to be honest with you. When I went to college, I was trying to figure it out. Started off like as an undecided major, and we all grew up playing with DC Assault.
Yeah.
So, around the time I'm playing with Mike, Beasley, Nolan, Austin Freeman, Chris Joe, all them.
Yeah.
When I'm in college, they starting to make the league. I'm trying to figure out like, damn, what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So, sophomore year, I had to decide on a major. So I'm like, all right, I majored in sports management. Still ain't really kind of know what I really wanted to do with it.
That's what I wanted to major in, just off the strength. Like,
yeah.
I like sports. All right, bet. But we ain't have it, so.
So I'm in school, still trying to figure it out. So I majored in sports management, and once I graduated, I still ain't know. But I went ahead and got my master's degree. Still trying to figure it out. And y'all know Curtis Malone. That's the big homie. He called me. He was like, once I graduated and got my master's, like, he wanted me to coach DC Assault. So I'm like, all right, cool. Came home, started coaching some young kids, 6th graders. And really, to be honest with you, I kind of like fell in love with it. You know what I'm saying? Just helping kids. And I got a story kind of like, the first day of practice, you see all these young kids doing crazy stuff with the ball. Matter of fact, at your father camp too. I used to come home and watch your father at your father camp at Blue City Gym. And I never forget, like, once after practice, Curtis was like, look, can you take this kid home? So I'm like, cool. So I'm taking him home, asking the kid where he lived. He's like, yo, I live in Southeast off Minnesota Ave. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm driving. He like, can you buy me some food before I go home? So I'm like, all right. Take him to go get some food. He like, you buy my mother some food. So I'm like, at this point, it kind of hits me like.
And you how old at this point?
At this point, I'm like 22.
Right, you were young in yourself, for real.
Yeah, like I just started making money.
Eyes wide open, right? Exactly.
I just started making money, bro. So, I go, mind just like 10:30 at night. Take him home, get him some food, get his mother some food. And the craziest thing that kind of hit me was like, when he get out of my car, he walking. We in the hood, he walking home, he walking past like all the hustlers and all that shit outside. And I'm like, at that point it hit me, I'm like, damn, I gotta help this little young, you know what I'm saying? So from there, it just was kind of history. And after I started coaching with Curtis, I spent some time with Keith Stevens and Takeover. He the big homie too. And I helped start Team Durant. And at that point, I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing. Started my own egg program, was sponsored by Adidas, and then from there, did that for a year. And this was like 22, 23, 24, and then I did my own program at like 26.
Right.
And then after one summer, my former coach called me, and I never forget, I left Vegas, and he just hit me and was like, yo, I got it. No matter of fact, he called me. I might have been out somewhere like a Griffin. He called me and I'm like, why you calling? I ain't talking to him in a minute. But he hit me with a text and was like, yo, I want you to come coach with me. And he was like, call me. So I hit him. Came up to Howard, met with him, and he just offered me the assistant spot. So that's kind of like how I got into college coaching without even like trying to.
Right, now that's a crazy story.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just was off me really.
That's also you just got noticed. Like, which the effort and the work that you was putting in got noticed.
Exactly.
Right.
When I played, people always told me I was like a coach on the floor. How I communicated and kind of ran the teams I played on. So that was always in the back of my head. And for me, when it came time to make my decision for what school I was going to go to as far as colleges go, Duke stood out. Honestly, Coach K is, in my opinion, the greatest coach in basketball, but it stood out because his staff for the last 20, 25 years have been former players.
So you were thinking about coaching as you were making your college decision?
Yeah, like that really had a lot to do, amongst other things, that really had a lot to do with me making the decision to go to Duke. Was understanding that a lot of Coach K's former players end up on his sideline or coaches in other places.
Right.
And that's really what I was thinking about. That's what my mind was. Obviously, the opportunity to play pro, every kid has that dream.
Right.
But I knew that was a more realistic dream for me, as far as I knew I could attain that if basketball stopped me at any point.
Right.
So that's why it intrigued me, and that's why I was thinking about it at such an early age.
Atkins 5-4. Atkins stops and pops for 3. It's good!
Going into college, I wasn't really thinking about coaching. Going into college, I just knew I wanted to do it after. As soon when I was done playing ball, I thought I was going to play ball for 10, 12 years after college. I only played for 2. Overseas ball is a little different, a little rough sometimes. It went left for me, and I got the call. Literally, came back playing in the G League, and that was terrible. We lost like 30 straight games in the G League. It's just rough.
Yeah.
I lost the whole month of February, and I think from there, over real, like over 30, and like honestly, I was thinking about like our coaching, like the coaching I was getting at the time, and I was like, man, I really feel like not just to do, but I really feel like I could do more, So I knew from there, I started reaching out to my old boss, but my old coach, Coach Bray. They had some turnover on their staff. One of the assistant coaches went to coach at Delaware, Martin Inglesby. And then he called me and said, man, you want to join our staff as a video coordinator? And I said, that's a no-brainer. I just want to get in the business any way that I could. So I did that for the last 3 years. And then last 3 years, and then I just recently got the call to be here.
Things weren't going well for me, and something was missing in my life, and it was the game of basketball. So, in talking to my family, my mom and my dad, they said, this is the first time in your life that basketball isn't a part of what you're doing, so you should probably just get back into it by some means. So I started coaching some high school basketball, and AAU basketball in my spare time. And then getting back into it, that helped me out a lot, just with my life. So then, as college coaches would come through the gym, I would communicate with them and talk about ways that I could get into college coaching. And one thing that they told me was just to follow up with coaches as they come throughout the gym to build your network. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about college basketball is about who you know and being in the right place at the right time. So, and the second thing that they told me was go to the Final Four. You know what I mean? So I started saving my money. I booked a flight. I booked a hotel, and I went out to Houston for the Final Four. Out there, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, how it was going to go about. But from there, I met valuable contacts. Then I met somebody. I went out there, obviously looking to get an assistant coaching job at some high major program. It doesn't work like that, But what I did meet was somebody that said they needed an assistant coach at a prep school. He told me that he would provide me with a place to live, I could coach, and then I would also be teaching.
So up until this point, you were still working?
I'm still working
your job?
Yeah, I'm working my job. I went back home, and I kind of forgot about it. You know what I mean? I went back home and I said it didn't go the way I wanted. But then he followed up again. And you know what I said? I said, well, maybe this is the opportunity that I'm looking for. So I went up there. After a year on the dot, I quit my job. I had saved my funds and everything necessary. I moved up there and I walked into a great situation. I'm coaching basketball with some kids that have the potential to play college basketball. And then people are just coming through the gym again. So now I'm dealing with that situation. But then also, I started coming in contact with coaches that knew me from my playing career. And we had a kid that was getting recruited by the school that I'm at now. Didn't end up going there, ended up going to Brown University. But he said he liked the way I handled myself. He liked the way that I followed up with him, stayed in contact. And then what ended up happening was they had an assistant leave their staff, and the first person that he called was me.
was coaching Blue Devils, and we were at the Under Armour circuit in New York. And so we were down there playing. Y'all know how it is. There's 1,000 games going on at once. So I had ran into Justin. And me and Justin, we caught up. We were talking. He was, giving me a little bit about how coaching was going and everything. And I literally had like a moment, because y'all know, I mean, the AAU and the circuit and everything has changed so much since we were playing. So I'm walking through. We got our team. They got the photo booth set up. Where every player on the team, it used to be just like one or two guys, you feel me? Mike and Nolan might get the photo shoot, but nah. So now, totally different. Every single person is getting, the individual photo shoot. They got player profiles on the apps. Everybody getting the exclusive kicks. It ain't just, the marquee player with the box of gear. Everybody getting the gear. It's at a whole nother stage. And this is Under Armour. This ain't even like just Under Armour. So all of that is going on, right? So I'm looking up and down the gym. We got our players, got our team still. We got like different stuff on the agenda. I'm seeing like, of course now, like you mentioned, Tyler, the highlights is crazy now. Like we had DC Sports Fan coming up. Now, like your cousin is at the game making highlights for you. Yeah, the highlights is crazy. So every court they got like dudes on elevated stands like recording the games, making highlights. So then of course they got the roped off sections with the coaches, the college coaches. It's live period, so all the coaches is there recruiting this, that, and the other. Then of course you got all your Under Armour guys walking around wearing their different hats, filling their different roles. I'm walking through, bruh. Mind you, of course, it's thousands of kids in the gym. All the kids look like us. All black kids, hooping, bruh. All the paid positions in there, none of them look like us. None of them look like the kids. And I can't make this up. I was literally thinking about this while I was walking through the gym, because part of it was just like that was my first like reintroduction into like AAU and grassroots, and I'm taking it all in. Like, damn, this shit done changed a lot. These kids are spoiled now. And then like it really hit me. I'm like, yo, that's a lot of money going around in this gym and like on these sidelines and like working for UA, and don't nobody like it ain't none of these kids.
The whole school thing wasn't really my thing. I went to college, I graduated, I got my master's degree, but at that time I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just still like trying to figure it out. And one thing that I was speaking to one of my best friends about, Blake Price. He was telling me like, I was like, yeah, so what is Blake really trying to do with it? And he's like, create a platform. I wish I had something like that before I got into what I'm doing now, but I kind of could have known, before what I'm doing. I'm reading different books and stuff like that, but I never really had that platform to try to know what I had to do to get to this point.
When you want longevity, something that seems like a threat to you is youth. You know what I mean? So when I was coming into this business, and as a young black male, my immediate action was to ask somebody that looks like me for help.
Right.
And it doesn't go the way you think.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I'll tell you why. I talked to one of my coaches that I played for at Holy Cross for advice, and he told me this. In the gym, he said, the game is to be sold, not to be told. Wow. And I will tell you this. I went into my first couple of interviews, right? And people would say, send me your resume and your references, right? And I sent it to you. And then like 2-3 days later, he'll say, you know what happened, man? He ended up going a different direction. I was like, I appreciate you, man. And you know what he did? He took my recruiting contacts and made him his. You know what I mean? Because what ends up happening is there's two things that when you get on certain staffs that they will say that brings value to the program from your standpoint. Is your recruiting and your skill development, not your ability to coach. You know what I'm saying? Because what they think we lack is similar to like a quarterback situation.
The quarterback, yeah.
They can be a skill guy, running back, wide receiver, but they can't be that QB. You know what I'm saying? So that was one thing that I had to learn. So you got to keep your value to yourself in a selfish manner, but you still always have to be able to help somebody. At the same time.
To go off of what he's saying, I was a grad assistant fresh out of college for 2 years at Marquette. You know, that's a top 25 program in the last 20 years as far as wins go. So basketball is big here. And what I learned, like you said, was a lot of guys in the business are there to help themselves before anything else. You know what I'm saying? The kids come second, people they work with come third. They just there to progress into a head, because like most guys that get into the job want to be head coaches at some point. Those jobs don't open up that often, and when they do open up, they usually give it to somebody who has already previous head coaching experience. So the number of fresh, brand new head coaches that come in year to year is probably very limited. So you're talking about 350 schools, each school got 3 assistants. Each one of those assistants at some point looking to become a head coach. Guys not necessarily looking to help the next person.
Right. I'm trying to get mine.
To be honest with you, a lot of times too, what I learned too is like some dudes who you grew up with, you know, you may, I ain't gonna say you reach out for a favor, but you think you may go back since you 10, 11, 12 years old. Like, look, I'm trying to do this. You think you can put this word in? A lot of times those dudes don't really do it. It's the guys who you really don't know, who see your ground, who see what you're doing.
Why do you think that is?
Really, to be honest with you, I don't know. I can try and figure it out.
That's life though.
You know, sometimes it's the people that you don't know that really help you the most.
A couple of y'all have mentioned that it's a tough business, a good business, but a tough business. Why is that? Why is that the feeling?
Stressful. I mean, it's stressful because we're putting our. Well, one, bring it back. I was lucky enough to do 3 years as a video coordinator, right? So I just got to just literally sit back and watch and observe for 3 years and really just see how things were done, you know, at the highest level. And I could feel the stress from the assistant. And I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I want us to win. I want us to win every game. I want us to win the natty. But, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it wasn't on me to go get these kids. It wasn't on me to, you know, I wasn't calling the play. I wasn't telling coaches to sub in at the end of the day. So, you know, you can see it on you guys' faces after games about how stressful it is. You put your job is on the line between for 18 and 22-year-olds and what their decisions are in a basketball game. On top of that, what they do off the court matters. You know what I'm saying? So literally, you gotta. Exactly. So when you recruit a kid, it's not just about who he is on the court. You got to think about who he is off the court. Because I mean, if you do something wild off the court, now he can't play. Now that's
responsible.
You're responsible for that. Now your head coach looking at you crazy. Like, so hey, you didn't know what kind of character he had.
You're out of Maryland or Indiana or Kentucky, and we know guys personally that have been in those positions and have coached at K-State, et cetera, and been at those. You get paid a lot of money to be an assistant coach, so that can kind of fuel you and motivate you to do your job. What happens when you're at a low major or a mid major and the lucrative salary isn't, an incentive to go day in, day out, go on those long recruiting trips, et cetera.
I think, I think for the high major assistants, I think the stress probably comes from feeling that you're replacement. You know what I mean? And you see one thing about now the salaries in college coaching for the high majors, they are up there, like you said. But the turnover is up there as well. You know, you'll see these, spots open up, at the high majors like that. You know what happened with that? The coach fired somebody because of the players that he brought in. He wasn't feeling them. Whether they weren't playing well or they were acting up off the court. It just didn't work out. So I think the stress comes in from that. I think from a low major standpoint, I think it may come from just feeling stagnant at times. I think you come into this business, like for myself, for instance, I thought as soon as I got, in networking with high major coaches, the thing that they told me was just get your foot in the door, and then by the, once you get that taken care of, get some experience on your resume, you'll be at the high majors in no time. You'll be in the ACC, SEC, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. You know, what I thought was going to happen was after my first season, I was going to go back out to the Final Four. I was going to do my network thing, and I was going to be out of there. I've been here 3 years, going on 4. You know, and one thing that you have to realize is just to be where you are. You know, you can't look ahead. You can't think about what's going to happen down the line, because what ends up happening is you forget to work on what's in front of you.
Right.
You know, it's the thing that they told us all coming up. You got to finish your breakfast.
We played for your father at 11, 12 years old. He was able to make basketball and life make sense together. Make the lessons that we was learning in the gym translate to how you should be thinking about moving through life. And that's really the key. And what we're doing or trying to do and supposed to be doing is having them kids understand the things that we're trying to teach you, the lessons we're trying to teach you about consistency, accountability, showing up every day to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like when basketball stops bouncing, you're going to have to show up somewhere.
Right. You have to show up somewhere, one way or another. You got to.
And the thing is, people, it's easy to think about, oh yeah, I'm going to own my own business or run my own business or do whatever, which is fine, have those thoughts, but at the end of the day, that stuff isn't just going to happen by itself. You got to show up over time and make sure the people that's under you are working the way they're supposed to be working. So how can you hold somebody else accountable if you can't hold yourself accountable first? You know?
What are like some of the main benefits that stick out to y'all being coaches, but also former players? Because when you look at the landscape of both college and NBA basketball, like people on the executive side and people in coaching positions, not all of them are former players. But for the ones that are former players, what advantages do you think you have?
I feel like the advantage is respect from the players from the jump. I think it's a little bit of, they want to know that you did it. You know, so it's hard to tell a guy, to how to come off the screen and me believe him if he's never done it before. So I mean, even again, when we were all young, playing for your dad. I mean, we knew that he used to play. He used to get busy. So I mean, it was a real easy, okay,
I can trust what he's saying.
I trust you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's probably the number one benefit of being a former player and getting into the business for sure.
What are the challenges like? Because I can relate because I've coached too. But what are the challenges like winning basketball games when you can't affect the game any longer as a player? Like describe what that's like. Okay, objective is still the same, but you're winning as a coach, and the saying like I can't win it like better than you do, more than you do, like really resonates now once you put that coaching cap on.
Yeah, I mean, you get a mockery and just like almost trying to like put what's inside of you just on them. It's like, look, man. I
was going to ignore it.
But it's like, what's in your head, you know what I'm saying? Right. Thinking about how you thinking about it, you want them to just, bro, just slow down. You know what I'm saying? Slow down. You have other people around here. All y'all be on the same page. Cause like we learned that at a young age. Again, playing with your pops, like I had to know how to play with you, know how to play with you, understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and know how to play off each other.
So boom, you doing that as a point guard, like knowing your personnel, giving the ball to different guys in their spots, knowing when to throw the lobs to certain guys, looking for certain guys on the wing. Now, how do you orchestrate that from the sidelines without the basketball in your hands?
It's tough one. I feel like these two guys.
I would say, really, to be honest with you, it's kind of like being able to keep them motivated, right? So one way may be able to be, if you're a point guard, I may be able to cut you out, right?
Yeah,
if you're a small forward, I may not be able to cut you out. I might not. You got confidence issues. I might gotta pull you to the side and say, "Come on, man, let's go. You all right? You gonna make the next shot." So it's just knowing your players and knowing their personalities, getting to know them off the court, and knowing, how each player gets motivated each way.
What's the biggest difference between coaching like high school age guys or at the high school level, grassroots, etc., and coaching college basketball. You can speak to the difference in coaching the players and also just in a broader sense, just like the responsibilities. Because as fans, like you just go into the arena, that's really all you see. Yeah. And that's on both levels. You know what I mean? That's high school and college. You just go to the game and you see what you see. And of course you make your judgments and your observations based on that. But you don't see all the hours, and that's the 95% of the work that goes on when it's not game day. Yeah, like so what's the biggest difference? Like, you know, because I can feel like, all right, well I've coached high school or I've coached, you know, with the AAU programs. I feel like I can damn sure do a good job, you know, at the college level.
The difference between high school and college, you know, depending upon your high school level, whatever AAU program you're kind of playing on, like you said, when you come to college, you know, everybody was all state.
Right.
He was the best player on his team. He was the best player on his team. He was the best player on his team. You bringing everybody together. You only play 5 guys. You got 13 scholarships. You know, so you know it's just getting everybody. The toughest thing is getting, you know, keeping everybody motivated and you know having everybody to buy into one goal. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure we all know, going to college, playing Division I, everybody has dreams of being a pro one day.
Right.
And, you know, and doing that, when you go to college and you're seeing 13 other dudes who got the same goal, and then, you know, how are you going to keep this player engaged when he thought he was going to be the starting point guard or he thought he was going to be the starting center? You know,
how do you still get value out of him?
How do you still keep them involved and motivated to when his number is called, he's ready to play? You know, with us being former players and you ask the benefits of that too. A lot of times when I'm coaching and like you said, you may see a player in practice and he may be going through it and he may got the attitude. You know, so a lot of times what I try to do is think about, damn, well, what was I doing in college? You know what I'm saying? It might have been just one of those days. So after practice, you may pull him to the side and say, what's good? What's going on? You know, and little things like that. You know, the player's appreciative of it because he actually knows you care and it's not just about shooting the ball. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, keeping those things into perspective, I try to remember the things that, you know, was going on when I was a player and some of the things that, you know, I was going through, you know, because you never know what these kids is going through. They human just like we do.
Would y'all say coaching is a 7-day job as a college coach?
7, 365.
There's no day off, huh? Because, you know, regularly, like, damn near any other profession, like, you get your weekends, like, 5 o'clock Friday, you got, you know, until Monday morning. But
recruiting never ends.
Code red,
but that's what you signed up for. That's part of the moving part. Like, yeah, you recruiting kids that you really don't know, but you're trying to get to know, and it's like you got kids already in your system that you got to build up to be better men. By the time they get out of here, they can go get a job, have a family, do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got this over here, and you got the possibility of way more kids you're dealing with in the recruitment scene.
And you got a relationship.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got about 25, 30 kids on your plate at a certain point that you're really trying to juggle. And it's like, yeah, your kids are important, the recruits are important. It all has to come together to make a team. So like every year your team is different.
How you manage like the recruiting? Like, how do you maintain the relationships? You already got hella responsibilities and duties, like with your current program and the current season. I don't care whether it's preseason, during season, or postseason. Like, you got so much going on. How do you still be a successful recruiter and develop those relationships?
Where this going? I can't really tell you all of that.
I was thinking,
that's one of them things. That's the niche.
I can't give all my
Right. So that's the niche. That's what you got to develop. You got to become good at that.
I think
as a coach,
you just gotta
be organized.
You gotta be organized. You gotta have your own strategy.
That's what you can get, Jordan. You can give us describe some conflict when there isn't a mutual like assessment of a recruit. So say
I mean,
you got a kid that you sold, you like, yo, I'm telling you,
he's the one.
he's the one, he's about it, and the other assistant is like, nah, or he alright, but I got this youngin' over here that's not, he's the one. We got one scholarship left. This one.
Be able to be honest with each other. I gotta be able to be honest with Eric. Be like, look, I know you may have seen something, but I don't see it. And he got respect. And that doesn't mean that a kid won't be good or be good in the program. It's just from my perspective, for whatever reason, I don't see it. Now,
And a lot of that, I mean, to cut off time, a lot of that comes with the staff.
yeah.
Because
Trust.
it's just like in the regular
Do you want to staff
working
that sees it the
environment.
same way?
Not really.
Not really.
No,
No.
like, you want to see, but it's like you want to have, you want to say
You
exactly.
want to be able to work with other guys to where you can voice your opinion. They're not getting, like you said, not getting
You're offended. Well, you don't know what he's talking about. Like, you already,
Right.
you already
Right.
It gets tense.
That's why I'm asking. Especially when y'all speak about the pressure that you feel about keeping your job and winning games. Like, does it come a point, you feel me, you 8 games in and you're 2-6, and you feel me, assistant coach is looking at the other assistant coach like, see, motherfucker, you brought in here and doing it.
That happens though. And it's like sometimes
Look, that's your man.
when I was
Right, get your boy. Get your boy. But I'm saying, so how do you handle that maturely and professionally? Because again, it ain't just, you know, and maybe everybody might not understand this, it ain't just like one coach might gotta go, the whole staff might gotta go.
At the end of the day, y'all have to understand, he going to a one goal.
Yeah, we all
So as soon as that kid, you get him on signed, no matter what, he's all of ours.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, so yeah, he may be messing up, and that was that dude's recruit. That's your family now. This kid is yours. So like, we got to figure out how to make it work. You know what I mean? Like maybe we're not putting him in the right position. Right. Maybe maybe he is not a. You don't need to dribble more than 3 times. You know what I mean? Like maybe let's put him in the positions to make him successful. Because I mean, at the end of the day, he's on the team. You guys have to be successful for y'all to keep your job. So let's make it work.
when I was at Marquette, we would be in meetings and, you know, guys, assistant coaches, you know, their guys, everybody pushing for their guys to get more minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, between your 5 positions, with 200 minutes in the college game, I think it was 200 minutes that you can give split between 13 people, right? Your best 3 players, they eating up 100. They eating up 100 of them minutes,
Right.
essentially.
Right.
So now you got 100 minutes for the last 10. So that's the reality of what being a player is and what being a coach is. So for players, your relationship with the people that's recruiting you is so important, because when you get on campus, yeah, your performance gotta stand on its own, but at the same time, if it's a toss-up, you gotta know he's gonna go to bat for you in the meetings on a daily basis. Be like, look, we need to give him a shot, like Eric said, put him in this position maybe. Let's try this for him. But he's good, let him play. We gotta play him. Sometimes some kids never play, and it's like you never really know if he's good. But it's like, shit, it's 200 minutes. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to on a daily, or it's just a tough situation that you went for whatever reason, at that point is you got to look at your assistant and have a relationship with him. Be like, bro, all right, what I need to do first as a player? What do I need to do to get on the court? Trust that whatever he's telling you is good information. Apply it. If you apply it and you still not playing, it's a tough situation.
I'm seeing like a friendly competition within one coaching staff. Because if 3 of us are on the same staff and your recruits are standing out and your recruits are standing out, but mine aren't, how am I going to progress in my career?
Again, that's the business. And it's like us being on the staff, we friends. So it's like, yeah, we can let you hear about it, but it's like it's different. And then you go into a staff situation sometimes where people don't even know each other.
Right.
So it's like that individual, like me first mentality that I was talking about earlier, in that situation now, and on the staff where you don't know each other, it's like, you could feel isolated if your guy, for whatever reason, not performing. They'll isolate you and laugh at you behind your back and not be honest with you. Not be like, yo, you need to pick it up here, you need to try to do this, you need to look for that. Like, they'll be like, all right, let's weed this person out. Yeah. Like, you'll get cornered off, so it's like, it's tough. It's a tough business. It's tough.
You were about to say something, Jordan?
No, I was gonna say the same thing Tyler was basically saying, but in reality, man, at the end of the day, I think Eric said it all boils down to just winning. So whoever's recruited is at the time, when the buzzer go off, winning, then who cares?
It don't matter. Get to the next one. That's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, it's about, as a player first, humbling yourself is it happens to everybody, right? As a player in college, you gotta humble yourself. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen when you're on a college staff as well. You have to humble yourself a little bit just to say, all right, my guy's not making it.
You might make some false judgments at times.
But that's fine. Perspective. Let's make whatever work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Focus on the guys who the 7, 6, whatever it is that you have. Make that work. Because at the end of the day, winning, you gotta get the W. Everything else go out the window. If you winning.
It's all about how you feel you can progress. Like Tyler said, some people think they can progress by building a player resume. This is who I recruited. You know what I mean? I look at their individual stats. Me personally, I think your best mode of progression is just through winning. You know what I mean? If a program wins, all 3 assistants, the operations, the GAs, the managers, the head coach, everybody will benefit from that. You talked about being a black male coach, so I think the one thing that older coaches have told me is something that may not sound or may not be a thing that black males do, is keeping a journal. You know what I mean? Writing down your thoughts, writing down the situations that you've been in, how you can improve some things that you did, how you can do them better. So, like, for instance, you can go into a situation with your head coach, right? And it might be an end of game situation, right? And you're sitting in timeout. Now, end of game situations, when you get to that timeout, it's one person talking. So although you might think you have the brightest idea ever, he's not trying to hear it. And he's going to do what But now what you don't want to do is let this situation go to waste. So after the game, you can go to your little black book that you keep and you can say, hey, we were down 2 with 37 seconds left to go. Coach said to do this, and this is how it turned out. It was successful, it wasn't successful. Would you do it this way or would you change it? Now you write that down and now you have put your thoughts into paper, so now it will stick with you.
I do want to ask you, Ty, before we move on to Jordan, what just coming from a national championship culture, like what are some things that have stuck with you? Because I know we talked recently and you were saying like it's just now like really hitting you. The value that exists in like just being part of that Duke family, like learning from a guy like Coach K, like what is it from that Duke culture that has really stuck with you?
The thing I'm so impressed with and always will be with Coach K is like he's had so much success over a long period of time. He approaches every day as if he's never won a national championship. He approaches every team that he works with as if he's never been successful in basketball. I'm dead at it. So it's like crazy. The amount of, as Jordan was talking about, film, attention to detail that he puts into each team, each player, regardless of what he's already done before. Now, that was the thing I took away the most. It was like, man, this dude, he's 4 championships and he's bringing the same fire, intensity. He's not skipping steps with us. Just because he knows, we have a winning program and we'll get the top guys in. Like, no. It's the same thing I taught Johnny Dawkins, it's the same thing I taught Christian Laettner, it's the same thing I taught Elton Brand, guys like that. And it's the same thing I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach it the exact same way. And it's like, no matter how successful you are, if you want to continue to have longevity, you got to approach it like it's your first time and you'll never get another chance to do it. That's what I learned from Coach.
One, you just got to embrace your journey. You can't compare your journey to somebody else's. You know, how quickly they got to where they are, or the successes that they may have may not come at the same time as you are. You just know that you're going to meet them at that destination. You should be doing your own time. And then also, secondly, probably just don't be discouraged by hearing the word no. You know what I mean? In this profession, you'll interview or you'll inquire about numerous jobs. You'll hear no multiple times. All you need to hear is yes once. And then lastly, I would probably just say carry yourself the job that you want, not the job that you have. You know, if you have aspirations of being a head coach, while you're an assistant coach, carry yourself like you're a head coach. You know, every time you're put in that position where you present yourself in front of people that may, you know, hold that opportunity for you, make sure that they look at you in that light. So when the opportunity does come, they know they can trust you.
Oh, that's real, man. I'll close it with this, and I appreciate y'all for doing this. I really believe there's like real value in just sharing your perspective. Because as you know, as coaches, like it's kids looking up to you. It's kids that don't even look up to you now, but are coming up the pipeline and will, especially as your careers progress. So just appreciate y'all making the time to do this, and also like I'm proud of y'all. It makes me happy to see y'all doing what y'all doing, because you know, like you said, it ain't too many jobs, and it's even a smaller amount for guys like us. So to be doing what you're doing, shit is a dream come true too.